Hello there. I told you not much will change in the future. In the 2016 Brexit referendum, Truss voted for her country to remain in the EU. The candidate wants to convince doubters in the race to succeed British Prime Minister Boris Johnson with a particularly tough Brexit course. So in this race for the successor to the PM, the candidate Truss wants to convince with a promise of an extensive cancellation of EU regulations that are still in force. All laws adopted from EU times should be put to the test under the government by the end of 2023 in a campfire of bureaucracy to see whether they serve Britain's economic growth or not, she announced. In the 2016 Brexit referendum, as I said, Truss voted to keep her country in the EU. And with a particularly tough Brexit course, she now wants to convince doubters of her that they vote for her. The previous Secretary of State for Brexit Opportunities, Jacob Rees-Mogg, has previously raised doubts in the cabinet with a much less ambitious plan, namely to review the more than 2,000 laws by mid-2026. In view of the significant cutbacks in public administration, it is feared that this will hardly be possible. And access to the port of Dover continued to be difficult in much of the UK as the summer holidays began. It's very, very tough. That's what Kent County Council leader Roger Gow told the BBC on Saturday morning. And Port Director Doug Bannister pointed out that the additional post-Brexit checks will increase check-in times. A high burden was foreseeable for Saturday anyway, said Bannister. After the 8,500 cars cleared on Friday, 10,000 were expected on Saturday, he told the BBC. And British Foreign Secretary Truss on Friday urged Paris to do something about the unacceptable delays at the port of Dover. No, this Brexit is not unacceptable. The British side complained about the set understaffing of the French border checks. Passengers must clear British and French checks before boarding ferries. Yeah, but they wanted that. You can't blame France for Brexit. Truss described the situation as completely avoidable, which is bull. The minister who's running to succeed Prime Minister Boris Johnson said, "We need action from France to increase capacity at the border, to limit further disruption to British tourists, and to ensure that this appalling situation is resolved in the future and is avoided." Well, she wants France to pay for Brexit now. Unions also fear that workers' rights could be significantly damaged by the measures. In addition, environmental standards could be undermined and even greater trade barriers arise. That's what experts warn about in The Guardian. Truss' rival for the Prime Minister's post, Rishi Sunak, announced in an interview with The Times that he wants to set up a task force to deal with the enormous waiting times for treatments and operations in the British NHS health system. Without radical reforms, this is in danger of collapsing, according to Sunak. Truss' rival for the Prime Minister's post announced a little bit more in The Times on Saturday because he said that he would like to set up a task force not only for the waiting treatments for the NHS, but for a lot of problems he didn't name. Over the next few weeks, Conservative Tory MPs will decide whether Truss or Sunak will move to Downing Street in September, succeeding Boris Johnson. The current Secretary of State, Truss, leads in the polls. Sunak admitted to entering the race as an underdog despite consistently receiving the most votes in the Parliament Group internal polls. And the EU is pushing for a settlement of the dispute over the Northern Ireland Protocol. The British government is not giving in. And now the EU is taking the next step. I talked about this before. In the dispute over customs regulations for the north of the Emerald Isle, the EU Commission launched 4 new infringement procedures against Britain on Friday. Despite numerous appeals from the 27 EU countries to London to implement the Northern Ireland Protocol, which is international law, the British government has refused. That's what the Commission said in a statement. The British government called the Commission's actions disappointing. No, it's more than disappointing if you don't keep up international law. For more than a year, attempts had been made to find common solutions in the spirit of constructive cooperation. Yeah, that's what the EU did. The UK is not ready to engage in serious talks on the issue. Instead, unilateral changes to the protocol will continue to be debated in the British Parliament. The proceedings brought by the EU could end up before the European Court of Justice and be expensive for London. The Northern Ireland Protocol is part of the Brexit agreement between Brussels and London and is intended to regulate customs checks in the exchange of goods between the north of the Emerald Isle and Great Britain. London had originally agreed to the regulation to prevent checks at the inner Irish border, as this could endanger the peace process in the former troubled region. Now, however, the British government wants to abolish most checks between the north of the Emerald Isle and Great Britain and exempt British traders for goods to the north of the Emerald Isle from the obligations to make EU customs declarations. London argues that the Northern Ireland Protocol undermines peace in the region by blocking government there. No, it's not the protocol, it's the pro-British DUP, because they are opposing the formation of a government in the north of the Emerald Isle for weeks and are calling for the protocol to be abolished. They are just selfish. The EU rejects a fundamental revision of the agreement. However, it has allowed practical simplifications in the checks. The UK has now 2 months to reply to the Commission's letters and take action to comply with the protocol. And this should this not happen under the terms of the post-Brexit deal, Brussels could suspend the application of some provisions, which could lead to a heated trade dispute with London. A total of now 7 infringement procedures relating to the Northern Ireland Protocol are pending against Great Britain. The 4 new procedures concern non-compliance with customs obligations and checks on goods entering the UK from Northern Ireland, which Brussels says increases the risk of smuggling across the Northern Ireland border, and non-compliance with EU legislation, notably on alcohol tax and VAT on the e-commerce. So they haven't learned anything, and with the new government it won't be any different. And I'll see you in my next video. Ich komme wieder.